Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do this look right here, which is a inexpensive way to get a burn victim. I think I'm using the right one to try with, but to me, I wanted to do an inexpensive little video for this because a lot of people don't want to spend $80, $40, $60, $70 on some stuff for one night. I know I don't, and I know I'm not. So this is just a quick little easy thing to do. I think it took me maybe an hour and a half for both sides of my face. So if you're interested in getting this look, then keep on watching. And before you go, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, or do one or do both, whichever one is good with you. And do not forget to follow me on any of my other sites, and I will leave them linked down below as always. And as well, I will leave all of the stuff I use in this video down below. So this part was probably the most useless thing I ever did, because you're not going to see this, 1, and 2, it looked really dumb, but people decided to do it. Now you're going to get some Elmers glue. You can use liquid latex, but Elmers glue, I think I bought this for like $1 at the Dollar Tree, so it's very inexpensive, and you can work with it better from my opinion. Right here, I just filled in the lines. Really didn't have to, because in a minute I spread them out. I'm trying to look for my brush currently. You can buy this pack at Walmart for, I believe, like $2 or $3. I used the smallest one out of the whole section. But right here, you're just spreading out the glue, and then you're going to put some toilet paper or tissue paper over it. And then I found that as I used this toilet paper, that it was a more expensive one, and the one that you can get for like 68 cents works better because it's not as thick and it goes down faster. Now the layers, it doesn't matter. It depends on how gruesome you want it to be. If you want it to be thick cuts or thin cuts, it's up to you. I used about 4 to 6 layers at a time, and you just let them dry. And after, every time you want to put a layer on, you want to make sure it's not dry, because that way it's not going to stick. Once again, that line right there is just completely useless, but just put glue there. And I'm doing, I think, 4 cuts on my face, 2 big cuts, 2 small ones. You can do 1, you can do 10, it doesn't matter, however many you want to do. And as you can tell, I'm letting it dry down a little bit, but not too dry, and then putting more tissue paper over that. So here I just added my fake eyebrow on the beauty side, because if you add one on the pain side, it really doesn't look as realistic, because usually in a burn or anything like that, your eyebrow of course gets burnt off. So now you're just checking to make sure the glue and the tissue paper is actually dry, because if it's wet and you put cream paint, it tears up all of the tissue paper off. Now usually you can put the cream paint on like your vanity or in a little plastic thing or whatever you want to choose. But for some reason I put it on my head. Yeah, I really don't recommend that, because it can just not work out right. Here you're just putting it everywhere, and when you get closer to the edges of the other side of your face, make sure you're not making it straight, because no burn is technically straight. And see, if you look at it, it's really bright red, and once you add your dimensions of your browns, your yellows, your oranges, and your blacks, it's going to change and look more realistic, so don't let the cream paint bother you. This is the cream paint I use. It's called Cream Makeup, and I bought it at Walmart for like 98 cents in the Halloween section, so you don't have to go out and buy the really expensive stuff. And this is the blotting I'm talking about, that I'm just not pressing too hard. I'm just kind of taking the excess away and putting it towards the other side of my face. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just adding more tissue paper onto the spots where I want my cuts to be. And if you notice, I'm not really putting more tissue paper on the smaller ones, because I want those to look like blisters more than anything. Now I'm going in with one of my old palettes. It's a palette I got from Ulta. It's the NYX Happy Birthday palette. And I'm just going to use this one because I don't want to damage any of my newer ones. I'm going to take this orange shade right here, and this is going to go on the side that I don't have any of the scars or anything like that on. Now for this look, I wanted it to be a little bit extra, so I kind of went out further than my crease instead of just sticking near the crease, and to me that just adds a little bit more of a dramatic effect. I do want to mention this real quick. As you're doing this, make sure you have concealer by, because this can look a little messy, and with the concealer you're going to cut out that wing on the side of your eye, kind of like I'm going to use with my Rimmel 125 Fair. If you look at it, I'm just really shaping out how I want it to look, and it's going to be a sharp look. You don't want it to look more rounded because that's what it's meant to be. It's more of a wing. And then you want to set that with the translucent powder. I personally use my Kat Von D, but you can of course use anything else. I know a lot of people are liking Laura Mercier, but I like my Kat Von D. And as well, keep checking your spots to make sure they're drying down now, because now the look is kind of coming together, and as you're doing this, you want to make sure that's finishing up. And because this palette really doesn't have any browns in it, I'm going to go with my Modern Renaissance and just put some of these colors in there. I really want to start off with this color right here. I don't really know the name off the top of my head, but it's going to really add some definition into your wing. Now, of course, you can go back over this once it gets a little bit more messy, but I like to do my wing first. That way I know where I'm going. Then I'm going to with my Morphe 35O palette and taking that brown and putting that all over the lid and really deep into the crease in the front, not in the edge of the eye. Now this is what I was talking about when you want to go in better with your concealer and cut the crease better. With the first one it really doesn't matter, but with this one is really what you're going to be time consuming with, and make sure it's actually cut evenly and everything is set correctly. Next, all I'm doing is I'm taking a flatter brush and just cutting that more and making sure it's really clean, because sometimes concealer can get a little blotchy, and this just helps you and me make sure it's a straight cut. Now, since I don't know what green I used, I will show y'all a swatch of the blue that I used to top the green. And this is the blue in the Morphe palette. It is so pretty and so rich in color that it's so unbelievable. Now, you can use it with a brush, but for me, for pigments, I get the most out of it if I use my finger. Now here I'm going to take these two shades and I'm going to contour my cheeks and my jawline and my forehead. Now a good way of knowing where to contour at is to feel for your cheekbone, and you want to go right under or on that. Now usually you don't bring it down to your jaw, but since this look is going to be really beauty on the side, you kind of want to. Then you're going to take a translucent powder, any kind once again, and you're going to cut your contour as good and make it as sharp as it can be possibly. Now, while you're already contouring everything else, you might as well go ahead and put in your definitions into the side of your burn victim. Now, right here, I'm just putting the contour colors into the spots where I think the most definition should be at. So really, in a burn victim, it's pretty much everywhere. A lot of times, you'll have like certain spots like your jawline, your nose, your eye socket, all that. But on here, you never know what's going to get burned. You never know any spot, so you want to make it as real as possible. And you're just adding kind of like a bruising and a definition to the skin, transitioning from real skin and to burn skin. Now, apparently I forgot about doing my neck, so I'm just going to do that really, really quick. And this is the same way as the face. When you get to the edges, make sure you're blotting them and not just full putting them on as paint as we are with the rest of our neck. And then as well as making sure that it's going to go as far down as where your shirt will be that you're going to wear for this night or during the day. Now this is where you're going to add some more oranges and yellows and browns into your look and add more of a definition into your skin tone and more of a burn effect. Now you can add this orange pretty much anywhere. I'm mainly going to focus it onto my scar points and into my hollow points like my eye socket and kind of around my nose and my mouth. Just build this up as much as you want until it looks real to you. And also right here, make sure you're not forgetting about the edges of your face, because I know sometimes you get really so into putting the black and the dimensions into your red part that you forget that it transitions to real skin and non-burnt skin. So make sure just as much black is going on the edges as it is in the center. Now this part is probably my most favorite part. This is when you're really going to add the cuts into this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take any type of tweezers, anything like that, make sure it has a pointy edge to it, and just start taking bits and pieces of your cut out and make them as wide as you want, as thin as you want. No matter what, this is your cut, this is your face. Do what you want, but make sure you're being very careful that you're not actually getting your skin. And also whenever you pull the pieces back, make sure you're pulling them back onto kind of like the tissue paper or toilet paper, whichever one you use, because you don't want that just kind of hanging off. You see how mine's kind of hanging but it's also flat? Do it just like that, or however which one, but this just makes a more realistic effect. Now to add some of those colors, I'm going to take this brown out of the Subculture palette and the yellow out of it as well. And I'm going to just take this and I'm going to put this all over the spots I think they might need. Now the spots I think needed the most are around the cuts because they're kind of oozy and gooey and they're just really infected looking. And now that your cuts are dry, you can actually go on top of the cuts because we don't want them to look just plain white because it is part of the look. Put the the yellow on top of it, and then add the browns and the blacks after that. But make sure on the bottom it is yellow. So after you're finished putting in your browns, your blacks, and your yellows, take that cream paint again that we used earlier for the bottom of the face and put this back in the center of the tissue paper. No, you're not going to see the red the entire time because once you get this filled in, you're going to fill it back in with the browns and the blacks, and then you're going to fill it in with some blood. Now for blood, I got this out of the paint section in Walmart. It came with like a kit for like 7 of them for like $5. And then you're going to take this 98-cent vampire blood I got from either Dollar Tree or Walmart. And I started doing this motion like kind of sideways, but I ended up really not liking it, like dabbing it on. I honestly like swiping it better because that just makes a more realistic effect and I'm not putting too much in one spot. Now to me, sometimes it doesn't look as more realistic with the red and the blood on top, so I put more black on there. This is just something I did. You do not have to do it, but if you look on the bottom cheek, you can kind of still see a little bit of white and it looks a little fake, and the black kind of adds the definition. Don't forget that when you're doing this, the blood goes in the center as well because that's where the blood really is going to be. And you know when I told you earlier to pull it back, put blood on that. Put it heavy on that because that's where the blood is still running to. And don't forget about your neck. In this motion, as you can tell, I kind of just swiped really, really fast. And that's how I got the little motion of a little bit of blood, but not too much. But of course, you seriously want to put heavy blood in the center of the sections because that's where the blood's coming from. And when you go to your mouth, do it very sideways as well, kind of like you are on your neck. Because your neck and your mouth might not get the most, but there's still places where you need some blood at. Now here, all I did was add one of my favorite lipsticks by ColourPop. It is Saturday. It's not a maroon, but it's not a purple. It's kind of like a good in-between. You do not have to add this lipstick. You do not have to even add lipstick at all, but to me, it actually adds a better effect. But when you do the lipstick, make sure you're adding a transition into it because this looks really fake right now. But once we go in back with the blood and back with the red like I'm fixing to do, that makes everything better because it makes it look like even the side that's beauty got a little bit of burnt too. Now while we're adding last minute touches onto the face and the burned part, make sure you're adding some shadows as well. And that what I mean by shadows is contouring around. And of course I went back and contoured my face a little more. But contour the burn marks a little bit more by adding shade to your nose and the cuts and the edges of where it might go from burning to non-burn victim. And I wanted to mention real quick, I did try to put lashes on for the beauty side, but these lashes were not working. So I kind of just left my lashes like they were, and I am so sorry about that, guys. Because I know we're trying to do a dramatic effect on the other side, and lashes would have made this look 100 times better. So this is like attempt number 7 at lashes, and these were just way too hard. The band was too thick. The actual lashes were, I guess, too fake looking, and they would not let me bend them to fit my eye. So every time I moved, every time I blinked, they were falling off like so. So that is why I said I did not do lashes for this look. Now just add more blood, more touch-ups, as much as you want and as much as you think you may need, and then have your own personal look done. And guys, that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. I had a lot of fun and I can't wait to do more. Please don't forget to subscribe and like my YouTube channel, and also do not forget to comment down below any other Halloween looks you may want me to do. Bye, loves.